Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Israel has intensified its assault on Gaza as Palestinian militants continue to fire rockets into Israel on the 5th day of hostilities. Israel's military said air and ground forces were involved in attacks on Friday but had not entered Gaza. Video from Gaza City showed the night sky lit up by explosions from Israeli artillery, gunboats and airstrikes. Some 119 people have been killed in Gaza and 8 have died in Israel since fighting began on Monday. International medical aid has poured into India as countries continue to help the South Asian nation with its coronavirus infections crisis. An aircraft carrying ventilators, medicines and other medical equipment from Germany, Netherlands and Portugal landed in the Indian capital early on Friday morning. Other aircraft from Qatar and South Korea carrying shipments of oxygen concentrators, ventilators, rapid testing kits and negative pressure carriers also arrived to help. The next phase of lockdown easing in England will go ahead from Monday, despite growing concern over the variant of the virus from India. Latest figures show there were 1,313 cases of the variant in the UK, up from the 520 recorded the previous week. From the 17th of May, pubs and restaurants will be allowed to reopen indoors, and people will be allowed to mix indoors as 2 households or under the rule of 6. A major US fuel pipeline has reportedly paid cybercriminal gang DarkSide nearly $5 million in ransom payments following a cyber attack. Colonial Pipeline suffered a ransomware cyber attack over the weekend and took its service down for 5 days, causing supplies to tighten across the US. Several American media sources reported the ransom has been paid. Colonial said it would not comment on the issue. Black Brazilians have been demonstrating in the country's 2 largest cities to protest against racism and police violence towards their communities, in a local version of the Black Lives Matter movement in the United States, with some accusing the country's president of genocide. It's after the shooting dead of 28 people in a slum on the outskirts of Rio de Janeiro a week ago, during an operation that police said targeted drug traffickers. Human rights activists accuse the police of extrajudicial killings. El Salvador is set to donate 34,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine to neighboring Honduras following an appeal from Honduran mayors. A host of Latin American nations are receiving Chinese vaccines, but Honduras and Guatemala are not in line to receive them. Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernandez has said the country could open a trade office in China in a bid to acquire coronavirus vaccines. 5 High Court judges in Kenya have blocked a government-backed plan to make fundamental changes to the country's constitution. The judges said the Constitution Amendment Bill, popularly referred to as the Building Bridges Initiative, was irregular, illegal and unconstitutional.
Global geopolitics.
The judgment is arguably the most significant ruling by Kenyan courts since President Uhuru Kenyatta's election win was nullified in 2017. Japan is set to declare states of emergency in 3 more prefectures on the same day that a petition to cancel the games was submitted to organisers. Hokkaido, Okayama and Hiroshima will join Tokyo, Osaka and 4 other prefectures enforcing stricter lockdown measures, which will last until the end of May. The petition received more than 350,000 signatures in just 9 days and says money spent on the games should be spent helping people and families rebuild after the pandemic. And finally, theatres and performing arts centres across the UK are preparing to open again on Monday, with this production of Amélie set to begin again from the 17th. It has been over a year since the production was on stage in London, and as England takes the next step out of lockdown, the musical based on the hit 2001 French film will be one of the first to open in the capital's West End.
It's the last show that most of us have done before this madness happened, and so it's a great way to get back to a different version of the life before 2020.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.